2.
Deuce.
Well, we're actually not Nerd Street Part 2, but it's Part 2 of the episode. So you may have just watched the last episode, or you might have watched it a couple days ago when we actually launched. If you got that bell icon on YouTube and you know when the new episode comes out, and you wait, you sit there at your computer or your thing, waiting to see it. It's a ding, a new episode. You're like, yes! You know, it doesn't matter that you're a school bus driver in the middle of your route. You're like, shut up, kids!
It's Nerd Street time.
All right, last episode we talked about Nick gave his ranking for all 10 Star Wars movies. He had some decent reasoning for it. You know, his brilliance.
It was amazing.
It was spot on, except for totally wrong. But so now I am going to give my list.
Man, why is there only 3 movies listed?
You know, no.
The Notebook isn't Star Wars.
A Legally Blonde 2. Alright, so.
I love that movie. You're starting with number 10.
Starting with number 10. So,
what is it?
Alright, and you know, the interesting thing is when I was going over this list, I had to reevaluate.
Your life?
Yes, reevaluate. What the hell am I doing with my life? I spend my days in a small room filming videos with Nick.
Oh, man. Not so bad. That would be an awesome time, guys. I'm telling you. Come try it.
It's look great on a resume.
We get that guy with the mustache from Deadpool 2 comes in. What's your superpowers? Nothing. You're hired.
And the cab driver, what's his name?
Oh, Bohander. I love Bohander.
No,
he's so cool.
No, that isn't. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Is it?
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
whatever.
We'll look into it.
Right.
He'll throw it across the screen.
Right, yeah. So I had to reevaluate some of the, you know, I'm like, oh, I thought it would have been this, whatever, but okay, so number 10. Oh, and I'd like to preface this with, there is no Star Wars movie that I don't like. You know, you've got a real mad on for Last Jedi.
I don't like that movie.
Even my number 10, I like it. It's just the 10th, I like it 10th in the list. So
But I want to hear you say it. If it's the 10th one, it's not as better as good as the 9th one.
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So my number 10 is Solo, a Star Wars story.
You
Yes.
picked Solo?
And here's the reason.
Okay.
It
This guy.
didn't feel like Star Wars to me. To me, it could have just been Solo, a generic sci-fi movie.
I know.
To me, what makes Star Wars is epic battles, and Solo didn't really have any.
Small.
Solo was more like a heist film. It was like Ocean's 11 in space.
It was more in the way of a heist film, like Ocean's 11. Absolutely.
So to me, what makes a Star Wars movie is these epic battles, both in space and, you know, duels or whatever, and Solo didn't really have any of that.
It didn't deliver on that.
Right. So I enjoyed it, but it just didn't feel like Star Wars to me.
It didn't feed you that Star Wars bite. Yeah,
Right.
I know what you mean.
So
Okay, fair enough. Number 10 was Solo. Wow.
yeah. Number
Okay.
9, Attack of the Clones.
Okay, well placed.
Yeah.
Well placed. Yep.
And the reason I placed that is it wasn't a bad movie, but there was nothing in it that really stood out a lot to me. I mean, the ocean planet of Camino, that was kind of cool.
That stood out to me. That was really cool design.
Yeah, it was cool design. It wasn't a bad movie. I wouldn't say it sucked. It just wasn't particularly great, but it still felt like Star Wars. Because, you know, like you said, we got to see Yoda fight for the first time.
Yep.
We were introduced to Mace Windu, the
We were,
badass.
A lot of people like him.
You know, so...
Jango Fett.
Yeah.
You got to know Boba Fett's dad. You get to see Boba Fett as a kid.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty cool.
We got to see Master Obi-Wan for the first time.
Yeah.
Bringing
up Master Obi-Wan. Yeah, because he was a Padawan in Phantom Menace. But,
the only really solid thing we saw with Anakin, I mean, we saw that he was a daredevil early at the beginning when they're chasing the bounty hunter that came after Padme.
Yeah, he's jumping from car to car.
Right. And the thing where his first step towards the dark side, where he goes back to Tatooine and hunts down the Sand People.
Yeah, he goes and talks to Ben.
Yeah.
Or Owen.
Owen.
Yeah.
Owen.
Owen, yeah.
And so so that's, you know, a couple things that were good about the movie, but overall was nothing really special. So, number 8, Phantom Menace.
Okay.
Really, the only reason that ranks higher than Attack of the Clones is Darth Maul and the fight scene.
Yeah, but yeah.
Other than that, again, nothing really memorable. The fact that the big finale was the pod race, and like you had said during your ranking, the fact that it was Star Wars was back after so long, the prequels.
You were still in the honeymoon
You know,
phase.
it was,
Yep.
you know, so not terrible, not great.
Mhm.
All right, so number 7, Force Awakens.
Putting my baby at number 7, huh?
Yep.
Putting my baby girl there.
Force Awakens, you know, we got the new regime, the new characters and stuff like that. I really enjoyed Force Awakens. However, I felt that it was too derivative. It was a lot of people commented that the plot was very similar to Episode 4. But if we look at patterning, okay, so we've got the first Death Star in Episode 4. Then 2 films later, we've got Death Star 2, which is, you know, tougher and whatever, and doesn't have that flaw.
Like, we're gonna talk about the fact that they just did another Death Star. That's stupid.
Now it's a bigger Death Star. It's a planet-sized Death Star. So what we know is in Episode 9, there's going to be an entire galaxy of Death Stars,
and they're all gonna be half built.
Right.
Would you say that The Force Awakens is hard to watch now because everything that happens in it doesn't really get delivered in the next installment? So if you go back, the things you get hopeful for, you can't get hopeful for anymore, right?
No, I'm not going to say that because I like to kind of treat each movie on its own merits in a lot of cases.
Okay.
And so, you know, one thing Force Awakens...
But a trilogy, you have to connect. They can't. It's like one part, one story, but it's got 3 heads. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's like...
But it's like reading a book.
Okay.
And you can't really gauge... It's hard to gauge chapter 3 before you finish the book. And this book isn't
Fair
finished
enough.
yet. The trilogy isn't.
Fair enough.
You know, so... moving on. Number 6 spot.
What is number 6?
Return of the Jedi.
Aha, alright. Fair.
Like you had said, there's a lot of iconic things. You know,
Yeah.
Jabba the Hutt. Mm-hmm. And that was a full-size, life-size puppet, animatronic puppet.
I know.
They had 3 puppeteers inside him because Leia was leaning against him, you know, the whole time.
yeah.
So he had to be full-size.
Oh, wow.
You know, you've got the Sarlacc.
Rancors.
The Rancor.
Man. Yeah, that was like the biggest, nastiest thing we've ever seen in Star Wars to that point. Yeah.
So it was, you know, it was iconic in the Battle of Endor and everything like that. It's just, that was really the first Star Wars movie that I was old enough to appreciate the plot intricacies and whatever. It wasn't just a lot of cool explosions.
Yeah,
and
it just
stuff
wasn't
like that.
laser to explosion to jumping off a cliff or a spaceship blowing up. It actually, it took you through a little journey. You were
Right,
to the
so-
story.
Number 5, New Hope.
New Hope at number 5.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
let's talk about that.
Well, that's the one that kicked it off. And like we talked about in the last episode with your ranking, it's a solid plot. It's the hero's journey.
Yep.
And we get our
Introductions to everyone.
intros to our favorite characters and whatever. We've got Darth Vader, we've got Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Han Solo. So, I mean, it's
Princess Leia.
these characters molded our childhood, and that's our
Absolutely.
first introduction to them.
I'll have to look at them.
All right, in my number 4 spot,
Okay.
Rogue One, a Star Wars
You
story.
liked Rogue One.
I
huh?
did like Rogue One. In fact, I recently watched it again, and
Okay.
you know, you've got limited character development, but what character development they could give us in one movie, I felt they did a good job of.
Okay.
And even though it wasn't the characters that we've fallen in love with over the past decades, it had that Star Wars feel to it. It felt like it could have been directed by George Lucas.
Really?
Yeah.
See, for me, I think people were more. The time period, I think, made people say that. Are you sure it's just not the time period the film set in? Because I didn't get that feeling. You had the first 2 minutes of the film. No. It's the after Jyn Erso, the kid scene in the beginning. The first scene you have with rebels. The rebels kill their own people. Another rebel. It's not even, to me, it's not even Star Wars. I've never seen a rebel shoot another rebel in the back to save his own skin, then becomes a love interest and one of the main dudes in the movie. When do rebels kill each other? Like, it was just off, man. To me, that was the opposite of Star Wars to me. when you have rebels killing each other, other rebels. That didn't make sense.
And see, I think with the rebellion, I mean, it was about making hard choices. They were all, by part of this, being part of this rebellion,
That's why
they were
did it.
essentially
You're right.
being on a suicide mission. And it was a, you know, the at the beginning when what's his face, Cassian
Okay.
kills the other rebel. It's you know
and-
he's
and
like,
when he-
what are we gonna do? The stormtroopers are coming. I can't get out of
my
here.
leg, yeah.
And so Cassian's like, well, it's either you get taken prisoner
Being questioned.
and get questioned, or you die.
Okay.
You know, I'm gonna, you know, you could
All right,
also.
you know what? I take it back. I feel like you totally represented that scene in the right light for me. I was wrong. Wow, Brent, thanks. Actually, what other choice did he have? You're right.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that movie, and unlike
I'm gonna
you,
watch it again tonight.
I like it more the more I watch it.
All right, man. You schooled me on Rogue One today. I'm actually gonna go and watch it again tonight with different.
Good, you
items.
should.
Awesome, man.
All right,
He's good for something.
my number 3 spot, Last
Trace. Dude, come on.
You know, I know you and I disagree on that, and there's a lot about
What the
that
hell?
movie that I don't like. I think you could get rid of the whole casino planet thing and the whole little rebellion that or mutiny that Poe Dameron has on the ship and stuff.
We're having a mutiny right now.
But the way Kylo Ren represented in that movie,
Dude.
you've got the throne scene, which was awesome, but again, Kylo Ren, and
yeah.
a fundamental sticking point between you and I is
Okay.
I like how they handled Luke and how Luke ended.
That was embarrassing how they handled Luke.
See, in my opinion, it's Luke coming to terms with this is what a Jedi is.
I need more coffee.
And you know what Yoda says about even our Luke.
What was the last line Yoda said? It was actually fucking brilliant. When he talks about
pass on what you have learned is what I told you, and that's even mistakes. A master is made
no,
of.
they outgrow.
What
they outgrow what we become.
No, we become the mistakes we outgrow, or something like that.
Yeah,
you know?
we're gonna have to put that on the video.
Yeah,
that line.
we grow beyond our mistakes, or something like that. I'll have to look it up. But so I think that it makes sense how Luke did it, and you know the whole thing when he's arguing with Rey and she's like, "You're Luke Skywalker," and he goes, "Yeah, I am. You know, what did you expect was going to happen?" And then I trained Kylo and I started the thing all because I was Luke Skywalker. I bought into my own bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And so the end is like, okay, there's no more bullshit. This isn't about being the mighty Luke Skywalker. This is about buying the Resistance time to escape. Otherwise, they're screwed.
That was such a dumb setup for an escape. They're only 20 feet behind him, and they even have to go, wait, I know why he's doing this. He wants to buy his time. That was so bad. That was like a student film. That was like at college, and your homework is to make your first student film. It can only be 2 minutes long. That's what Rian Johnson did. It's like his 2 hours were 2 minutes, so he didn't have time to tell you why, and he just the audience is stupid.
Okay, ultimately, would I have made those choices about Luke's character? No, but I respect the choice. I think that I like the way they handled it, even though I don't necessarily think that that's the way I would have chosen.
All right, are we on
All right.
Dose?
Number 2, Dose.
Number 2.
Empire Strikes Back.
Oh man.
All right, and
All
you know it's a
right.
great movie. There's so many iconic scenes. There's Hoth. There's Bespin and Lando and
Yeah.
the freezing of Han. You know, we've got Dagobah and
Han
the
and
first,
Carbonite, man.
Yeah, Han
Wow.
and Carbonite. We've got, you know, Luke meeting Yoda, and first, you know, Yoda is kind of playing coy and, ooh, wars
Oh,
not make
man.
one drink. How do you get so big eating such food? You know,
He starts
it was
beating
a
the
little-
shit out of R2. No, mine.
And if you think about it, because Yoda was in hiding, and suddenly this dude shows up, and Yoda's like, "Who is this guy?"
But you know what? Yoda knew what it was right away. Probably when he was in orbit before he landed, he knew who was coming. He knew everything, and he already knew how to play it.
Right, but he's
you know?
got to kind of test
Oh,
it.
he's got to. Yep.
Plus, we didn't know this at the time
goosebumps.
because the
Remember?
last time he had dealing with a young, promising Force user was Anakin, who was brash and made a lot of bad decisions. So
did.
Yoda's like, I gotta feel this guy
Yeah,
out and
yeah.
see. And
This-
he even says, I cannot do this. Too old he is.
Too
old for the
Dude,
training.
okay, when he's in the hut and all of a sudden his demeanor changes and his voice changes, dude, I got goosebumps. Like
Yeah.
that scene is unbelievable. When he just starts looking in there and his look on his face is like, holy shit, it's you. You know?
Yeah.
You're like,
The
oh,
facade comes down.
Oh, and
suddenly-
Mark Hamill does such a good job. Like, his face just melts. Like, oh my god. The whole time you're my master, please, I gotta do this. Let's do this. Come on, I'm your boy.
and with a puppet's facial expression. Now think about it. A puppet's facial expression and tone of voice is all we get, and he suddenly goes from a mischievous goblin to wise master.
Wise. Watch what you say around him. I feel like I should bow to this guy for no reason. Like,
Yeah. So much good about Empire Strikes Back.
There's so much good. Perfect movie too.
Yeah. So, and number one on my list,
Okay.
Revenge of the Sith.
Wow, dude. See, last video, you guys remember me saying that Revenge of the Sith is the most underrated Star Wars. And this guy puts it as number one, dude.
So
What a
underrated.
brilliant
You
number.
underrated. You put it at what, 6?
Yeah, no,
Or
yeah,
four?
even I underrated it a little bit, but
The reason I love Revenge of the Sith
yeah, let's hear it.
is
Love that
because
movie sick.
from the beginning, from episode 4, New Hope, and through the entire original trilogy, we're hearing about how Darth Vader used to be Anakin Skywalker.
Yeah.
He used to be Obi-Wan's pupil. And we always speculated, we always wondered what happened. How did it happen? Why is he in this robot suit now? Where did this all come from? And now in Revenge of the Sith, and then in episodes 1 and 2, the first 2 prequels, we see it kind of, so the episodes 4, 5, and 6 point back. Here's what used to be.
Yep.
Episodes 1 and 2 are pointing ahead. Here's what's coming. Episode 3 is where we see it. It's framed.
Yeah.
And we see that fall of Anakin.
We do.
We also see that he didn't just be like, ha, evil is awesome. Wah! We see that it was for love.
Yeah,
And it humanizes him.
it does.
And we see that Darth Vader is not just Hitler in a robot suit with wizard powers. We see that he's a guy who his love for the Jedi way and his love for Padme and seeing that all ripped apart.
Yep.
Just kind of
Ripped him apart.
ripped him apart, and that was enough for Palpatine to come in and mold and manipulate him. Anakin would have been broken, but without Palpatine, Anakin wouldn't have turned. Palpatine is the one.
Oh, he would have handled it with Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan
Right.
would have took care of him, got him out of it for a couple years, watched him like a hawk, try to bring his mentals back. You're right. I never thought of that.
And then in Last Jedi, we've got so many epic battles. We've got Yoda against the Emperor.
Yeah, which
We've got Obi-Wan against General Grievous.
Yeah, which was pretty fun.
And really, I didn't notice this until I just recently rewatched Sith.
Okay.
The final battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan is long and has some really awesome choreography. Duel of the Fates, had awesome, Darth Maul and all this stuff, but it was flat ground. You've got Obi-Wan and Anakin balancing over lava pits and jumping from this and this and on this tower that's floating down a lava thing, and then there's one scene where they grab hold of cables and they're swinging and fighting
trying to
around
hit each other while they're swinging on cables.
That battle is just so good.
So good.
And
Battle of Mustafar.
if one of them had been able to pull off like Darth Maul type moves, that would have instantly elevated it to the best of all time.
Oh, easily. Yeah.
And it was so fast.
Yeah.
And, there
like
was,
kids, look at us doing our thing.
So it was just so good. And you've got, that happening at the same time as Yoda is fighting the Emperor.
Yep.
And, so just that the entire ending is so epic. And that it ends with Obi-Wan defeating Anakin, picking up the lightsaber, and he's like, "You were my brother,"
You were
and
my
whatever.
brother.
And he just walks away because he realizes, I have to take care of Padme, and you know, this is done. And
Do you
then
remember when Anakin screamed, "I hate you"?
I hate you.
Yeah.
And just the one, and then you know the dichotomy and you know George Lucas was always so good for this. You've got equal scenes, you know, cutting back and forth. You've got Padme giving birth and dying, while Anakin is being reborn as Darth Vader, and it's going back and forth and whatever, and it's just kind of a dichotomy.
So well done.
And
oh,
that
man.
is why Revenge of the Sith is my #1 favorite Star Wars movie.
Well done, Brent. That was a hell of a list. That was awesome.
So, we hope you enjoyed his list and my list. Leave your comments in the comment
We
section.
want to know what your guys' favorites are. Put maybe your top trilogy.
Yeah.
If not, throw all 10.
Yeah, give us your listing. Interact with us on the Facebook group. I'll put the link again in down below. Get active with us on the Facebook group. It's easier to have a conversation on there than it is on the YouTube comments and things like that.
For sure.
That community is there so that we can interact with you guys. This isn't just us talking at you. We want to interact and talk
We're
with
talking
you.
with you guys.
Those of you who continually comment on the YouTube videos, thank you so much. There's several of them. I don't want to name any names because guarantee I'm going to leave a couple out, and I don't want to forget anybody.
Absolutely.
But so all of you who have been our
Thank
staunch supporters so far, even early here in our early videos, we thank you. You guys watching and commenting are the reason we stick to doing this. So
Absolutely.
thank you.
Friends, family, everyone, you guys are the best. Thank you.
Hit that like, hit that subscribe, watch Star Wars, and watch for our next video.
Oh, you forgot to mention one thing. X-Force.